and then they inject it into the areas where you have muscle tears, or for me, they inject it into all 5 of my discs. And again, I've had 14 procedures now. My last one, BioAccelerator, flew me down. I've been lucky, man. I've caught some breaks in my life. This company contacted me from listening to the show. They paid $40,000 worth of treatment and gave me treatment that was superior to what I've been getting here. As far as they used umbilical cord stem cells, and me and Kevin Nash went down there.
That's the best stem cell.
And dude, that's when my back completely is better now. I have no pain. I'm back, dude. I'm like better than ever. And then my shoulder.
You say, bro, like you say, you caught a break because when I got my hip replacements, right, I was trying to look for something, alternative medicine, stem cells, everything. But I'm talking about like 12 years ago. So for a while, I don't know if you knew this, Bush had stopped funding on stem cell research. Yep. So I was kind of fucked. Yeah. So that's where you,
And, man, I tell you, man, I look and I see people. I remember seeing Ron Simmons right before I got my stem cells. He had 2 of his discs fused, and he was starting to put on a little weight, and he was at a signing, and he's like, I can't do anything. He goes, I'm not in the pain I was in. He goes, don't get it, man, because I needed 5 of them. And I was like, it sucks, man. And I'm so blessed because my career was over. And I feel like I joke about it. It's like you see it in the movie, like the people I wish I knew what I knew. I wish I had the body with the brain that I have now back in my 20s and whatnot. I was like, I actually now get to really, truly get to experience this. So it sucks because it works. So here in the States, they limit what we can do. Like I get 1 million stem cells with each treatment. When I went over to BioAccelerator, I got 175 million. So.
I thought in Colombia you could go and get even more, right?
Like some of the guys I saw guys down there get 350 million. Like you can, they basically.
Brian Cage, Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. Nash went down there too.
Yeah, Nash was there the whole week I was there.
How did you hit it off with Nash?
Oh, fuck, man. The whole time we ate just grass-fed hamburgers the whole week and hung out, and he did the podcast.
And drink wine.
No, so by the way, we got down. That was the bummer. You're not allowed to drink when you do the stem cells.
Oh.
So, but we got away. We talked him into letting us have a bottle a couple of nights.
Yeah, Kevin's got to have that red wine.
About 3.5 hours. We shared 1 bottle of wine.
Yeah, I could tell. I could tell when I saw the pictures you guys did. I could tell those 2 guys are going to get along because they're both good storytellers. You know, like they just tell each other stories back and forth. Laugh, right? Exactly. Yeah.
That's what, man. I told him it was cool, man, because I grew up, man. Him and Razor when I was a kid, and I always like it when you watch people. And as a kid, I always thought they were cool, really cool. And then you meet them and you get along, because I've had it not be the case with guys, you know, when you grow up watch. So it was cool, man. It was that was a check for me, just as far as into it. Would not even talking wrestling, just fucking just get along, you know. So
right. So what are you doing now? You got your nutrition thing, you got your podcast. What else?
So what I'm doing now, Feed Me More Nutrition, is it started taking off about 7-8 months ago. Everything just got shipped out last week. I've hired an entire team, a fulfillment company right outside Chicago, and I went down there a couple of weeks ago and finalized the deal. I now have a huge team working for me, and we're getting over onto Amazon, UK, Mexico, and Canada in the next 4 to 6 months, which is going to open up sales to where I have a pretty good following as far as the wrestling goes. And
but what do you sell? Protein powders and what else?
Yeah, I got my whole thing. I got protein powder, pre-workout. I got my sleeping pills, my brain feed. I got my creatine and the testosterone booster and the Finish It BCAA electrolyte pump matrix. But what my thing with that is I don't use artificial sweeteners, aspartame and sucralose, everything, and we use natural ingredients. And it was one of the things all the supplement companies.
So what do you use instead of aspartame?
Stevia and monk fruit, the natural sweeteners. And it's a lot more expensive and my profit margins are less, but it's becoming very, very popular. And we're coming out with a plant-based protein as well and increasing the flavors. And I started this all, man, with my own money, 3 supplements. I didn't take a loan. I go, you know what? I'm really, man, I take chances in my life and it's always done me well. And I calculated risk and I've learned a lot with all this. And I've had access to guys like Gary Vaynerchuk and Damon John have reached out and actually been very supportive of what I'm doing.
For the people that don't know who they are.
Gary Vaynerchuk's a big social media influencer with VaynerMedia. Extremely wealthy guy, but very knowledgeable on social media and staying relevant in today's age with the kids. Telling me get a TikTok account and doing these things that I was like, TikTok, what the hell's that? And I'm getting millions of views on there. Yeah,
that's huge. It's from China.
Yeah. So for me, it's been like whatever success I had in the past, it was eliminating that. And then these guys, Damon John, he's on Shark Tank. If you've seen him, he created Fubu, and again, ultra wealthy guy. And man, just seeing these guys who have made it for me have motivated me, because my goal is to be able to go back to wrestling under my own conditions. And the only way I can do that is to be successful in what I'm doing. So that's why all my energy has gone into that in the podcast, in growing the supplement company, which I tell people, Brock went to the UFC and became successful. This is my way of doing it my way, with my situation and my story, with my injuries. And I went through everything that I went through in WWE and killed myself for an opportunity to hopefully be a larger-than-life star. And at the end of the day, I realized I had no control over the situation, which was a very helpless feeling for me. Being at that level and being right at that, just needing to win one pay-per-view, and like you'd mentioned, it's probably night and day with my career as far as where everything went. Having that taken away lit a fire under my ass like nobody will ever understand. And I knew what it was right then and there. And I said, I started reading books on business. I started traveling alone, not because I didn't like being around everybody, is I needed to learn how to take care of myself, because otherwise I was going to be a bitch to pro wrestling my entire life, like a lot of guys end up being. And I just didn't want to do it. After going through that and having my injuries and seeing all the old timers, what happens when you leave, and wrestling's not there for you at the end of the day. So,
plus, not only that, the one thing that I've learned, bro, is that like when they know you have no options, that's when they take the most advantage of you. When they know you have options, there's a certain respect, because they're like, well, fuck it, he doesn't need wrestling anymore, so we can't come on him like we do the other wrestlers, where they'll tell wrestlers before AEW came along, they'd go, so where are you going to go? Impact? Where are you going to go? Mexico, where and people were just like, "Fuck, I got to take it."
That's been so people understand why I'm in overcoming and regrowing 5 disc and not avoiding a shoulder replacement. And I'm like hell-bent. Like, I love pro wrestling, but I'm like you guys, where it's like I'm not obsessed about it like some of these other guys, where I'm like, I understand. For me, the win for me is showing back up at WrestleMania. I want every motherfucking, I want every man and female there to fucking hate my guts. Fuck this guy coming and taking our spot. I want Feed Me More Nutrition on the fucking logo on the mat. That to me is a win. If I could do that at the end of the day, or wherever it is that I go, that's why I'm willing to lose it all for that moment, because that to me it's that personal. But I'm doing it for me, of having control. My hard work is directly paying off when I wake up at 5 every morning and I hustle all day long and I make thousands of dollars in sales every day based off how much I'm posting online. There's nobody saying you got to go take the L tonight and you're going to be a piece of shit and then you're going to get paid less for it and then we're going to take you off TV or this and that. And I don't have to deal with that anymore. And so that Feed Me More Nutrition is my baby, and it's grown now. We have 8 supplements, multiple flavors on some of them. Started with 3, my own money, became profitable at the 2-year mark. And it's just growing. I'm able to now take my marketing. We're going to triple the marketing, what we're putting in of a lot of money. And it's now I don't have to do the work. And I've done it all for 3 years. So
now is the testosterone booster something kind of like TRT kind of?
Yeah. So it's not, it's for people with healthy testosterone levels is always the best. It actually raises your natural and free testosterone in that. It's not, I tell people there's different, like for me, I needed to go on TRT at 28 and I came off. I actually got my testosterone back to the low normal range on this testosterone booster, over 300 points, but I was still low normal considered. And for me, I have primary hypogonadism, but for people that don't have that, and that we're seeing, and I tell people to get blood work on it, they come back and their testosterone levels are anywhere from 150, 200, 250 points increased from taking it. So it's the real deal. It's not, and I tell people we have a return policy. If it doesn't work and you don't like it, return it. So,
all right, bro. Well, plug everything that you got. Where can people find your podcast? Where can people buy your nutrition stuff? Where can people follow you? All of that.
The best thing, Feed Me More Nutrition, feedmemore.com and Amazon. And hopefully we'll be in those other countries, like I said, the next 4 to 6 months on that. The podcast Conversation with the big guy Ryback on all podcast platforms. And Ryback TV now on YouTube. We're about to hit 200,000 subscribers in 6 months. The goal is to get to 1 million this year before the year's end, because I got a lot. WWE refiled the Ryback trademark on the last day. It was the one thing that I just got off the phone with Cody's attorney, and I have my trademark attorney. It's going to end up probably, if I want to pursue it, I'm legally Ryback. I could be the big guy Ryback, and they could put Reeves on the screen. They can't stop anything with that, but they're trying to file for it for online and for entertainment again. And it's going to cost me between $100,000 and $200,000 before it's over.
Yeah, bro, that's what they do, man. That's the thing is, like, you know, they got the thing is,
there's no reason for it.
They've got that no compete clause that the companies always hit you with, right? You can't work for somebody for 4 months after, which is completely unenforceable. But you got to spend money to get it, you know, unenforceable. You know, like they know that it's going to cost you.
That's why they're doing it.
Bro, that's bad karma.
Right.
Not only that, bro, you gave up your body and you gave them everything you had.
And I gave up a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for them too, because they told me that it was going to make them look bad. And I deal with the ankle shit every week. It's just.
It's almost like if you're walking on the sidewalk and there's a puddle by you, they could go around it, but they'll just drive through it and wet you just because they can. You know, it's like
it's all a game. And we just extended the delay. We got 7 more months before I have to file for this against them if I choose to do it. But it's just weird, man. I tell you, my whole life is strange. I talk to Vince's brother, Rod McMahon, all the time. He buys my supplements. His brother's a little older than him, and he goes, Vince always talks good about you, and I'm just like, I never say anything bad to him about him because it's his brother. It's just like, it's the weirdest just relationship, everything, and I don't get it. But at the end of the day, I got 6 months.
I can tell you this, and we've seen so many guys being brought back that had more heat than you did. I don't know how much heat you left with, but just the fact that you're personable, you can talk, you're growing your own brand, and you have a name. No doubt you'll be back there one day, my brother. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what too, though, is like ultimately people like that are like at the top of the food chain, that have a lot of money and are in charge of a bunch of people. It's like ruthlessness is kind of like a good quality in their eyes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like kind of where it's like they look at that as like, you need to be ruthless to own all the.
It's all a game,
crazy, right? Yeah,
exactly. But you really don't have to be. You know what I'm saying?
No, you shouldn't. But like Vince likes it. That to him, it's all a game. Where he likes, and it's just a weird thing. He runs the place off of 48 Laws of Power, and it's you don't need to be like that. But it's what he's done, and it's his business. That's why I walked away. And I tell people too, at the end of the day, to not take up any more time, but. For me to move on from the entire situation, I took entire accountability over everything, and it's my fault because I stayed and I took the money and I agreed to go do the finishes, and that's the only way I was able to get closure on the situation. Because no matter what I try to do, I can convince the entire world, I can convince you guys that I got fucked over and I was a victim and I should have been the next biggest star in the fucking history of wrestling. At the end of the day, that didn't happen. The result was the result. I failed. I agreed to do it. Move on, concentrate my energies on this. You know what? If I get another crack at it, maybe it'll be a different story the second time. So
right, and you're more prepared this time. You know what to expect going in. Yeah. So, bro, and I also want to put over the fact I love that book, The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. People should check that out. And much success to you, my brother. Hope to have you back on the show. And thank you for being on Keeping It 100. Boom.